G'day everybody and welcome to your Thursday training. Thank you very much for being with us in today's training. So I'm going to begin with a little warm up, a standard warm up of joint rotations. We'll get started. Feet together. Well done. Okay, hands on your waist, down to the ground, up to the ceiling, side, side, down, up, side, side, arms forward. So I know that at this stage a lot of you will have your training area all cleared. We've had some great videos coming through of seeing just how well you've set up your training areas. We've got some families who have padded floors in their house with their boxing bags set up. We've got some people who have got their sheds out the back as a full dojo or a dojo. But if you've got your lounge room set up and your coffee table spread out the way and you're on a rug or even on your regular floor, that is fine. Just please make sure there's no hazards in the way, no couches or chairs or coffee tables that you can slip over and crack your head onto. Stretch out towards your left. We've actually really enjoyed the online training, guys. It's been an amazing thing to watch. Everybody from young kids training with parents all the way up to our adults class. So you guys are really getting into it. Please make sure you're checking in with your white belt syllabus. We've had some feedback from some people and we're going to be making extra videos to make sure that they're very easy to follow. But if you've got any questions at all, please email jamesduncan@juniormartialarts.com and he will answer them immediately, or we'll make further videos to make things clearer for you. Stretch your legs apart, go down to the middle. I'm going to be bringing Mr. Duncan in today to demonstrate the kicks because my leg is still sore. But we've got some good drills for you guys to do today, guys. All right, feet together. Yeah! We need it. Okay guys, so typically speaking, the second week after grading is usually our boxing tag. So we're going to start learning some drills, not just specific drills for your belt level, but some coordination drills as well that's going to help you get your feet and shoulders and hips moving the way it needs to move to link punches together. So I thought a good drill to start with would be whatever amount of punches you throw, directly after that number, you have to evade and then counter with a right cross. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm moving around, I throw a jab. I jab, evade, and throw a right hand counter. If I throw a jab cross, 1, 2, immediately after I evade and counter. What if I I'll do a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, evade, counter. Now what generally tends to happen when you finish with a left lead is it's hard to pull the right shoulder back and fire. So these kind of drills get you to be more neutral in your stance. It gets you to square up and be very aware of which shoulder is moving forward after the punch. With beginners, what I find is they overstretch with their jabs and sometimes they lean or overstretch with their right cross, sometimes because your feet are too far apart. So by doing these kind of tight drills, 1, 2, 3, evade, cross, it reminds you to get back to neutral before you do any second or third movement. So, jab, evade, cross. Jab, cross, evade, cross. Jab, cross, jab, evade, cross. Jab, cross, evade, cross. And you can go from 1 all the way up to 10, and you kind of number it in your own head, or if you've got a training partner, they can call the number, and all you're thinking about is, after every number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, evade, boom! You pull the right shoulder back and fire your counter strike. It might be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Evade, cross. Keep in mind the feet have to be square. You want to have your feet one shoulder width apart and one shoulder width long. Even when you step out for that first strike, your back foot's got to come with you. Don't let your stance stretch out this way and don't let your stance stretch wide out this way. You'll lose balance either way. Give this drill a try, guys. 2 minutes and we'll see you in the next one. Okay guys, so now we're going to go a bit old school with your strike. This is really good to touch base with and check in with at every belt level. We're going to go through a basic 1 to 5 boxing combination. So 1 is a jab, 2 is a right cross, 3 is a left hook, 4 is a right uppercut, and 5 is a left hook. Now in most boxing clubs, most martial arts clubs, their 1 to 5s are usually similar. They're trying to take you through every different strike in your boxing arsenal. Besides your body rips, that's more advanced stuff. But the purpose of the drills is to make sure that you're joining or linking each punch together and not bringing the guard away too soon before you execute the second, third, fourth, or fifth punch. So I'm going to show you a freeze frame of each transition, and then I'm going to do it faster, and you see if you can spot any gaps where I'm dropping my guard, okay? So, left jab, right hand touching your jawline. Okay, my shoulders come up, protecting my chin on the left-hand side, and I've got my heel up on the lead foot. I drop down, right cross. Now have a look here. My left hand is now on my chin, and my elbow is tucked into my body, and my right shoulder is up on my jaw. Now I twist both feet into the hook, so I've got both feet turned out towards my right-hand side. My left hook is coming through, and my elbow on the right side is tucked in. Now I transition to an uppercut. I've got to touch my chin first before I twist my foot into the uppercut. Really important. Most people do this. Boom! They pull arm back and fire the uppercut, and they haven't protected themselves on this side. If I don't touch my chin first, then I've got my head traveling up and through into traffic as the uppercut's coming. So I've got to make sure I guard first and then transition the back foot. Then on the last punch, I bring this hand back to my jaw as I rotate through. I'm going to do it again. 1, touch. 2, touch. 3, touch. 4, touch. 5. Now that can start to feel a little robotic, so then you start to join them together and you just make sure 1, 2, that the hand's coming back where it should. 1, 2, 3, and move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and move. So you can circle around, give yourself 2 minutes on the drill. If you're lucky enough to have a holder or a training partner, do it on the targets and get your partner to give you feedback. Otherwise, on your boxing bag or in the air is absolutely fine. Good luck with this one, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Okay, team, so leading on from your 1 to 5 boxing drills, I thought it might be nice for me to demonstrate, or for Mr. Duncan to demonstrate. And as the holder, the parent, or the training partner, I want to show you what I would be looking for when my partner's striking, okay? So Mr. Duncan's got his trousers legs rolled up so you can see what his ankles and heels are doing. So I'm going to get into freeze or the jab, and you're noticing that the heel's up on the front foot, the back foot's not turned out too far, and the right hand and the right elbow is tucked in. From here, we transition to a right cross. Now we've got the heel drop down on the front foot, and the right heel is turned up. So this makes the knee tuck in, and it brings Jimmy's hip, or Mr. Duncan's hip, forward. Now on the hook, we're twisting. Boom! He's got both feet facing towards the camera now. His fist, elbow, and shoulder all at the same height. Right hand on the jaw and elbow tucked in. Uppercut. Boom! Now, on the uppercut, the footwork's similar or almost identical to the right cross. He's turned his back foot, his knees tucked in, his front foot is planted strong, and he's still got his guard up on this left side. From here, we do the hook again, and we're back to that same transition. Now, what I will be doing, if my student or if my training partner can freeze on each position without dropping the guard and maintaining good footwork, then I'll start calling numbers. 1, and we move. 2, good, so I saw the foot turn and the elbows and the guards coming back. 3, very good, circle round. 4, circle round, you can see the feet are always turning, the elbows are always coming in. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Circle. Now, if you notice someone dropping their guard, maybe their right hand is falling just that little bit low as they bring the hook through, then you might say something like this. Mr. Duncan, I want you to do 3, but freeze on your last punch. And go. Ah! Freeze there, so I'm checking the fist. This is all good. The feet have turned, the knees are bent, but the guard is dropped. Cool. Now I'll do exactly the same thing. Mr. Duncan, I want you to do the same drill, freeze on 3. 1, 2, 3. This is looking better. Elbows now in, hands up, the feet turn. And you can get them to freeze on that particular number as many times as it takes to get that consolidated. And then you go back checking again with your random movement, calling 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and see if the guard drops at that particular spot. This is a really good activity, guys. Again, if you don't have a training partner, using your boxing bag or training watching the mirror is another good way to do the drill. Good luck, we'll see you in the next video. Okay team, so we're going to get into some combinations, and what we want to focus on is your transitions between the kicks and the punches. Now for lower belts, we're also going to look at how you transition your weight up to get your lead leg working for the first kick. It's a small transition, but it's really important that your body weight is shifted in the right way. And it's also important that you know the timing of how you get the back leg to replace the front foot. So I'll get Mr. Duncan to demonstrate the first two combos, and then we'll break them down so you can have a better look. So the first one is skip front kick, jab cross, followed by a back leg instep kick to the body. So Mr. Duncan fires off the front foot, throws a jab cross, and then a back leg instep kick. Now, this whole thing flows like running. You don't want to stop after each shot, but in the beginning, you need to make sure that you're landing in the right spot. For example, if Mr. Duncan fires that skip front kick and the leg lands across his body, we'll do that, Mr. Duncan. If that lands over here, the jab becomes really tricky. And what he wants to do is land that foot wide over this side, so he's got plenty of power in the left and even more power in the right hand. So if we do this on 45 degrees, you'll kind of see a little bit more about what I'm talking about. Skip front kick, and wide, 1, 2, boom, followed by the instep kick. Now this is a great drill to get your body flowing and the lefts and the rights working together. If you're more advanced, then we're going to look at skip instep kick. So now off the front foot, jab cross, followed by a right leg turning kick. So we go, skip instep, jab cross, boom, right leg turn. Do it again, 45. Skip instep, jab cross, and right leg turning kick. You should feel generating, or like you're generating power as you're going through the sequence. It's like loading up for that right leg. For even more senior belt to advanced levels, you can be doing a side step after the jab cross. So you can do skip instep, jab cross, side step, turning kick. So adds a little bit more dynamic footwork in there. It also teaches you the idea of why you might be doing this transition. You might be going in, then breaking your center line, and then attacking off. Now what I'll get Mr. Duncan to do is break down really slowly how he gets that front leg to lead, okay? So first thing we teach people is to join their feet together. So you lean forward and slide your back foot up to your front foot. Once that happens, you can take the weight of your body onto your back foot so the front leg can kick. If it's a front kick, you'll be more forwards. If it's an instep kick, you'll be more on the side. So the bottom foot's already pre-turned. So we'll do front kick and instep kick. Now, if the timing is tricky, if you can step and then fire, but you find it hard to slide up or shuffle and fire, what generally happens is you're taking off with the wrong foot first. So when you see this, you see my front foot lift. But if you really look slowly, what's happening is my back foot comes up first. I have to lean up or forward so my back leg comes up, and then I shift my head away so my back foot can land on the ground and my front leg comes up. It's pretty tricky if you don't get the lean happening. It kind of feels like it's just a hard timing thing to do. So we step first and lift. Do the same thing with the band or shaggy. Step first and twist, and then you slowly build into the shuffle. Okay, so we shuffle for the front kick, or shuffle for the instep kick, and then you work in your jab cross. One more caveat to note, you want to land your jab as the lead foot lands. Okay? That's where your power comes from. So when Mr. If we go through this slowly, skip front kick, freeze, left, twist. So you've got your, everything you're doing is being grounded and reinforced by each foot that lands. For senior belts, you feel free to do spinning kicks or jump reverses on the back. We'll see if Mr. Duncan can do one. We could do skip instep, jab cross, instep, jump reverse, turning kick. How's that? Skip instep, jab cross, instep, up. Jump reverse, instep, jump reverse, turn, whatever you want to do. The whole idea today, guys, is to get everything flowing together. Remember, clean training surfaces. Please make sure you're not slipping on tiles. If you are a junior, make sure you get your family watching what you're doing. Good luck with this drill, guys. Good work, Mr. Duncan. Okay team, so a little more advanced drills now. We thought you might like to try some lead-ins with some body rips as well. So first phase of the drill, I'm going to get Mr. Duncan to throw a jab, slip, uppercut, left hook, right cross. So we'll have a look at how he goes with this one. Uppercut, left hook, right cross. I'll move around this side. Jab, slip, uppercut, left hook, right cross. Now if you want to take it further, you can do an evade and then follow up with a Superman punch. So we go. Jab, slip, whip, hook, cross, evade, up, Superman right hand. Do it again. Jab, slip, hook, cross, evade, Superman right hand. Key points here, especially on if you do have a holder, you'll throw with your right hand and invert that for the rip holding and the hook for the left. You also want to make sure that your partner's elbows are in. Anytime we see students that slip down here, they usually have their elbows out, or worse, they have their hands down. If you think about what's happening here, Mr. Duncan throws his jab, and now he slips, he's right underneath my elbows. He's susceptible to knees, right across, he's right in my zone. So if he doesn't have his guard up and the elbows in, he's really, really vulnerable. Okay, so we do the jab and slip, freeze. Now after the body rip, he's going to come straight back to this position. So he's loaded up for the hook, and then nice strong right hand. So the shoulders and the hips recoiling are really important. We'll show you again. Pump and slip. Boom! So he's loaded up for this body rip. Boom! Loaded up for the hook. Boom! And then loaded up for the right hand. Now you saw Mr. Duncan tap his leg. The power in your body rips and your hooks come from the lead leg. We're going 45 degrees now. Jab and slip. So this leg is loaded up and ready to drive into this rip. And it's loaded up again, ready to drive here. Now all the weight's back on that back foot. So the whole drill is designed to get you loaded up, to get your weight behind it. Now, we'll do the whole thing last time. We'll break down the Superman punch to finish with if you're going to do it. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. I push with my left for the evade. Now, Mr. Duncan's going to take all the weight off of his back leg. Transition onto the front foot. And he hops. He's not hopping off of his right leg onto his left. He's leaning forward onto his left and shuffling onto his left again. So we'll do the whole thing slowly. Hop, slip, whip, hook, cross, evade. Now rock back forward onto your front foot and hop. Really important, guys. We'll break down just Superman punch one last time. So Mr. Duncan leans forward, he's on his front foot and he hops and he fires. We'll do it one more time. Mr. Duncan leans forward, he hops on his front foot and fires. We touched on Superman last week. Please break it down slowly. If you are lucky enough to have a holder, have some fun with it. See you in the next video. Okay guys, so for the last drill of the class, we thought it might be fun to simulate some sparring drills. So with your training partner, whether it's your parent, your brother, your sister, you'll need a noodle, your kicking target, or even a rolled up newspaper would be fine, as long as there's nothing too heavy or hard that you're going to hurt each other. Now for this drill, I'm going to get Mr. Duncan, let's say he's a lower belt, white or yellow belt, we might do something like a cover followed by a jab cross. So we're bouncing, we're moving, I attack, boom, boom. Mr. Duncan covers and then he replies. Attack, boom, boom, and recover. And again, attack, boom, boom, and recover. Now, if I swing the noodle, the newspaper, towards my partner's side, they've got a side step and throw a kick back. Now, if you're a white or a yellow belt, you might throw a side step up chargi, or if you're a more senior belt, you might do side step bandle chargi, or any kind of kick you want to do. So let's try a basic one. Side step, boom, up chargi. What about the other side? Side step, boom, up chargi. Now we've got bandle chargi. Side step, bandle chargi. We can do side step, dolio chargi. Side step, dolio chargi. Then I might tie it together with some covers, strikes, and sideways movement. 1, 2, 1, and move. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, boom. If you're doing any kind of kicks you want to do, play around with it. I want you to set a 2-minute round where you're reacting to whatever your training partner is throwing towards you. Give it a go guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay team, so Mr. Duncan and I thought it might be fun to throw in a little bonus punch for this drill. So here it is, it's called a spinning back fist. You see it a lot in Muay Thai or kickboxing. It's not done a lot in the more traditional styles because it's quite a risky thing to throw, and we always discourage spinning back fist or spinning elbows in sparring in our club. There's just no way of controlling it. You're blind as you throw it, which means you don't know where it's about to go, and if someone walks into it, there's not much control there, okay? But I'm going to show you for the drill so you can have a little practice. Again, if you've got a punching bag, play with it on the punching bag. If you've got a holder, they can hold a kicking target or a target, and you can practice, dropping that spinning back fist in. I'll also teach you a little setup for this particular punch, okay? So, the principles of a spinning back kick is much the same as a back fist, is much the same as a back kick or a spinning kick. I have to transition my lead leg over, and at this point I want to bend the knees and look over my right shoulder. Okay, so I never want to fire anything if I can't see where it's about to go. So I've got my guard up, I transition my front foot over, as I turn both my feet, I look over my right shoulder. At this point, I've wound up my right hand, I execute it straight through, bang! Back fist, and I'm going to come through and land with my left foot forward again. So I'll do a little faster this time. I transition over, look, back fist coming through, bang! And I'll continue the rotation through so my left leg's forward. A little bit faster now, boom! And through. Now, a good setup for a spinning back fist might be leading with a jab first. But as I step in with my jab, I'll start to make that rotation. Jab with a half turn, turn, back fist, lead forward. Jab with a half turn, turn, look, boom, back fist and lead forward. Have a little practice of this one, guys. Please be careful and don't try it on any family members. Okay guys, so we thought this might be a fun combination to finish off with. It's a really good setup combo when you're sparring. In one of the last videos we did a spinning back fist. So we thought it might be nice to transition to a spinning kick, but setting it up off that lead arm. So what I'll get Mr. Duncan to do, he's got his left leg forward, he's going to lead off with his left hand. And whether you do a left jab or a left hook, the creation of this rotation is what the important thing here is, right? So let's get Mr. Duncan to start with a left jab. As he executes, he's already going to pre-turn this front foot. So he's in a position where it's not quite an effective jab. It's a jab that's going out in front of someone's face, but really this is all about setting the legs up for the spin. So we've got a half rotation, and the left leg comes around. Let's do a fast one. So bounce, jab, spin. Pop, boom! So it works really nice. It's a great setup. It also gets me, the receiver, to focus on the hand while the leg's coming up. So if I'm thinking something's coming directly here, I might bring my guard in, and then the spinning comes around to the side of the head. Now another great way to transition into a back leg spinning kick is off a lead left hook. So this might be a more transition. You might be like, 1, 2, boom! And if you drop your left hand in, that's when the right leg comes to spin around. And remember this, the more punches that you throw before the back leg comes through, the more distraction there is, and the less chance your opponent has of actually catching or tracking the movement of the back leg. So Jimmy's bouncing, he might throw, let's say, jab, cross, left hook, boom! And that's where the spinning comes around from behind. If you are doing this, guys, it's a good idea to break down the spinning kick a few times before you try and tie the two things together. In my experience, the more moving parts a drill has, the more room there is for confusion and missing the small details. We have broken spinning kicks down in the senior belt drills before. Step, turn, look over your shoulder and fire. But if those things aren't happening because let's say you're jabbing and stepping forward, then all the extra movements, they start to get really confusing. So break down the spinning kick first, then look at how the jab works and how the hook is transitioning to it, and try and get the whole thing to work together. Have fun with this drill, guys. Please be careful with your ankles and knees. See you in the next video. Okay guys, so I wanted to finish off with today's class just having a conversation with you guys about your internet use, your smartphone devices, all that kind of stuff, right? So in my household, the girls I have noticed, they're kind of instinctively moving towards their iPad, or they'll watch TV, or they'll pick up the computer. Now I understand with a lot of hours in the day that there's going to be probably some internet use or iPad or gaming time in most people's houses, okay? But what I thought would be a good exercise for you guys to do would be to go a bit old school for the next week. So in our household, I'm challenging my daughters and myself as well to write a good old-fashioned letter to somebody. Now your letter might be to a friend, it might be to a relative, cousin, uncle, auntie, grandparent, it could be to an overseas person, a friend or relative that you haven't seen for a long, long time. And the letter is all about just explaining what you've been up to, how the last few weeks or months has made you feel, and what you're doing to keep yourself active and occupied throughout this time. It's also cool to be able to go to the post office with your family or your mum or dad and learn the whole process. I mean, I don't know what you guys are like, when the last time you posted a letter or if you ever have, but it's a good exercise to go and see how the whole thing works. When I was a kid growing up, I wrote a letter to my uncle once a week. Now as a grown up, I don't write him that much, and I'm going to write him a letter when I get home this afternoon and just update him on what's been happening with my work, with my family, and what I'm doing when there's not much to do socially, okay? So the challenge for this week is choose someone in your direct family, in your family or friends list that you can get their address and write them a nice letter. Go to the post office with your mum or dad, get the stamp, seal it off, send it, and then see if you can get a reply. I know it sounds like a quirky one, guys, but I want to get old school and see how we go with this drill.